The Fly Fifer and Just Another Monkey podcast. Talk is cheap. Let's talk.
Hello and welcome to the show again, because I'm saying again because we've recorded one this morning with Aidan and Mark from the Scheme. I don't know who Arden is either.
It's a cool name though.
It's a letting agency. In fact, it's a letting agency in Edinburgh. Don't know.
Named after the guy from Sweden.
Maybe.
Is that a free plug? Are they sponsoring this episode? Are you just like letting them?
Anyway, as you can hear, we are sat today. I'm here with Alan, aka Just Another Monkey, and
Hello.
Also sitting beside Alan on the camera right now is Craig Moncur, who is an actor, I believe.
Amongst other things.
Amongst many other things. I think he likes a wee sing-song to sell now and again. And I met him recently at the Schemes thing. Shameful plug for them again, where we're doing a filming thing. Alan and Craig met long ago doing various things in the big sherry. So, Craig, who are you, man?
Well, if Alan's just another monkey, I'm just another human, I believe. So basically, I'm Craig Moncur, the surname I was given. So I guess I would probably say, first and foremost, I'm an actor, but I have been a filmmaker and most recently, bizarrely enough, a rapper. So, it's been an interesting journey so far to this point in my life. Mainly a creative, I guess. That'd be the overview I would give.
Covers it all, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because the camera thing as well, that's something I didn't know.
Yeah, it's that's been my kind of, I guess, my living or my job for about the last 10 years. I was an actor for about 15 before that. And then I made the decision, I thought, well, you know, the work with the old acting had kind of dried up a little bit, so I thought everybody always needs somebody with a camera, so I thought I'll invest in some camera equipment. Started doing some jobs for like local businesses and then kind of built up for there. But just in the last few years I realised that, you know, it was actually the performing that I was passionate about, and I'd kind of neglected that a little bit on the behest of making money, and I'd kind of drifted away, I guess, more from the creativity. I'd always kind of had my toe in it, but I kind of felt like, you know, I'd prioritised other things as you do when you start getting a wee bit older, you know, and you think, is this acting?
Bills, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, responsibilities.
So
boring.
So what were you doing? Like, what were you doing for businesses? What were you doing with your camera? What things were you creating?
Well, I just kind of started by going around local businesses that I liked and sort of chapping the door and going, well, can I do you a wee free video? And if you like that, then maybe you could commission me for something else. So, you know, I was doing little social videos.
Ballsy, isn't it?
Aye, but then it was kind of, I guess the power of social media back then hadn't really fully taken off. So it was like, you know, it was quite new and quite like, folk would think, oh, this guy's got a camera, that must be good. Whereas now everybody's got a camera. I think it would actually be...
Their phone.
Yeah, their phone. It'd be a harder sell if I was trying to go in and do it now.
See the acting thing. What was your very first thing? Was it straight in?
Aye, it was a bit of a weird one. So at high school, I used to have this drama teacher who was like quite a big inspiration in my life in terms of trying to, like, when I left school, think about a career in film and TV. But, you know, where we always kind of sort of disagreed was, you know, he said, oh, well, you know, you should really sort of go and study, you know, you learn the art, you know, whereas, you know, if you just try and forge a career, you know, it might be quite difficult. And then he had this weird connection, and I can't remember what it was exactly, but he knew somebody who was working on a production called Looking After Jojo. And
This is what I wanted.
it was a mad story. So
I know it well. I know
you
it
know
well.
the show.
Yeah,
It's probably still one of the best dramas they've actually made in Scotland.
I would agree with you there. Eh?
Certainly one of the most ambitious, I would say. So I was still in high school at this point, and
Bobby Carlyle, I
that's
believe.
right. Yeah, there was an open, like, it was kind of like a weird workshop-y stroke open casting for two of the parts in it, and me and my pal went along to this sort of workshop audition for, I believe it was the producer at the time, or maybe it was the director, casting director, and we ended up getting offered a couple of parts. He got the bigger part.
Do you know the parts?
No, I don't.
You'll know it as soon as he tells you.
Right.
Aye, so it was funny because I might be making this up, but I don't think I am, right? Because the cast was in order of appearance, I was always, I think, the first face seen in the title sequence.
Right.
So there was times where like my name was right at the top of the cast, and I might be wrong here, but I'm sure I was at one point above Robert Carlyle, which was really funny because that was my first acting job, and I'm going, what's so difficult about this? I didn't need to go to college to learn this. I can just, I'll just forge this career, and then I left school, and there was a couple of years were a little bit difficult, and then I landed like a really, really good job.
I thought it was the best one that done the wheelie. Actually got the part.
Oh, maybe I remember that.
Oh, I can't. I'll need to watch it again. I'm going to watch it.
The wheelie and the jumping in the puddles. Now it was the opening
credits, yeah.
Credits.
And it had a great soundtrack as well because it was the Jam. It's their town called Malice.
Yeah.
And it rung everything in the order that it did. Again, it was like the boys. Everything just went the way it should have went. The scheme, the pubs, the camaraderie between the boys, the skullduggery, the police, just everything that obviously the schemes.
It was a phenomenal cast as well.
Oh, everybody had their part and they played it really well.
And it was one of these experiences. I think that I'm really lucky with what I've had the opportunity to do when I was performing. I say was because I'm really only starting to pick it up back again now, because I always said if I hit 40 and I wasn't back in it, then I would be trying to get back in when I hit 40, and that was last year. So
you're not 41, did you?
Aye, this year.
Just a young man.
Just thought you were going to say
puppy dog.
So you look much older than that.
So looking after Jojo, was that pre-Trainspotting and all of them, or was that did that come from Trainspotting, or was that pre-Trainspotting?
So I think it was 98. 98 was looking after Jojo. If I remember right, I think Robert Carlyle had either just done or was about to do Cracker.
Right.
Remember where he played the Liverpudlian?
Yeah.
So I think it was post-Trainspotting, but I'm not entirely sure.
I'm almost positive it was post-Trainspotting. It was after it. I mean, we can Google it. You want to do it, or shall I?
No, you just keep yapping.
Because you could do it off camera.
I'll do it.
Yes.
Be professional.
Aye.
But no, because I remember looking to see that it was, and I'm thinking, no danger, that's actually post-Trainspotting.
Yeah.
Because what's the big blonde? I always forget his name. The big blondie that ended up, because he to me is typecast, although I saw him in other more gentrified roles, he just suits that one. Where his bird, he's got the videotape.
Oh, it's Tommy, who ends up dying with HIV. Yeah. Because
that's I thought this is what they no for theft, but this is what they've used as the precursor to Trainspotting. And then it kind of baffled me. I thought, hang on, Trainspotting
the other way around.
I have it here, gentlemen.
And the drum
looking after Jojo, 1998. Trainspotting, 1996.
Oh, wow. That's a lot earlier.
Couple of years.
That's what I'm saying. When you look at it and the actors that are there, the accent, everything in it was so Trainspotting. You think, it must be the same director or something. There's a running theme here. But no, I had it the wrong way around as well.
That was Kevin McKidd that played Tommy.
McKidd, that's it. Well done.
He's done really well. I mean, I think he went away to Hollywood and stuff.
I was going to say he went to the States. Ian Bremner did all right for a wee while as well.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
He was fantastic.
He's totally underrated.
No, he wasn't in Jojo, but he was in Trainspotting.
Definitely not. I had the second one. Because we Phil for Supply and Demand. Have you seen that scene?
Yeah, where he punches him.
He spuds and he goes into trade. He wants to get himself back. No, he's been to the recovery group.
And he goes into the ring. The box in it.
Well, that's the lead in Supply and Demand. He knocks him out.
That's right. Yeah. Some. I mean, it was some project, because I think that, I think it's one of these ones where it'll probably. Well, it might happen again, but I don't think we'll see something of that scale with so much like top Scottish talent in it. Because there was so many stars. I mean, it wasn't just Robert Carlyle. There was other guys in that, and you're like, wow, this is. I guess you would go as far as to say star-studded cast.
Certainly for Scotland.
Yeah. So to be a wee guy in that, and get my first acting job in a project like that, it kind of sets unrealistic expectations in the industry. But I did, so I think I had 3 or 4 scenes in total, and I think one of them was cut. but one of the scenes I did was with Robert Carlyle.
Right.
So I'm thinking, like, this is my first job. I've got a scene, a couple of lines with Robert Carlyle.
Right.
I'm like, what's so difficult about this, you know?
Yeah.
But then, as I said, you know, when I left school, because the thing that used to be really hard when you were younger, under a certain age, was getting an agent.
Right.
And, you know, it's probably got even harder now, actually, because there's so many people who actually do want to, you know, become actors. But I got really lucky with that, because at the time there was an agency, can't remember the name of it now, but it was set up specifically to represent young people within Scotland, within Edinburgh. That's where they were based, but within Scotland. So when I came out of school, there wasn't much on for a couple of years, and then I ended up on their books, and then that's kind of what led to, I guess, me getting my biggest job in film and TV. Right. So that was a kids show. It was a CBBC show called Jeopardy. So it was like crazy experience in my life, but it was like.
And where was that film? Was that in
Australia?
It was over there.
Yeah, so it was 40 episodes in total.
Wow.
So I spent, we filmed for 3.5 months a series, so went out there 3 times, so it was close to a year of my life spent in Australia. Right. But how I got that job was actually just totally a bit of luck with things aligning. It was, like I was saying, I was working this job. I didn't really like it at the time. I was quite young. It was that whole rebellious thing of like knowing that I didn't want to do what I was doing, but I had to kind of, to make a bit extra money. I was working in a hotel and just doing a bit of waitering in the restaurant there, and all the chefs and stuff. I was probably a right cheeky little bastard, to be honest with you. You know, as you are at that age and you're lashing out, but you know, all the chefs in that probably just thought I was a right little wido. I was like, who's this guy? You know, wants to be an actor, thinks he's, you know, this, that, and the next thing. And you know what? They were probably right, but I was getting really fed up of it, and I just, out of the blue, I'm just going to phone my agent and see if there's anything.
What's going on, you?
Pretty much.
Where's the work?
Yeah, so I said to her, I phoned her and said, look, you know, there's not really been much on. Is there anything going on at the moment? She said, well, there's this open casting at BBC next week. But she said, you're a bit old for it. It's actually, they're looking for, I think it was kids between 15 and 17, and I think at the time I was 19. And I said, but my playing age is still much younger. I said, is there any chance you can get me in the door? And it was honestly one of the longest audition to casting processes I've ever been in, because we met the casting director. It was like a general meet and greet, and then left. And then a week later, I think it was, I got another call for another meet and greet with, I think it was the casting director and the director. Another week passed, and then they said, we want you to come back and do a series, like a day of workshopping the scenes. So we turned up, and there was now we knew there was only 8 parts. I didn't know at the time. I believe 2 of them had already been cast, so there was only 6 parts available. Going. Yeah. And in this workshop, I believe there was 15 of us. So I'm like looking at all the other people, you know, doing the parts, and I'm thinking, well, they're really good, so they're a stick on for that. There was one part that, you know, the kid was meant to be this. Put it this way, right? The part I ended up getting, there was a guy in the room for the casting that I thought, he's perfect for that. That's his role. Yeah. And it was, and this was the weird arrogance of me anyway. We got to the end of the workshop, right? And the producer said, so on Monday, we're going to get you to call us, and we're going to, because I think it was one of these things, this just doesn't happen when, generally speaking, in the industry. It was like, we're going to get you to call us, and we're going to have a chat to you about the workshop, and we're going to tell you whether or not you got a part. Right?
Sadist.
Most of the time, you'd go, nice to meet you, thanks very much, maybe here for you. And
don't call us, we'll call you.
Exactly. Yeah. So 9 times out of 10, you never hear anything back anyway. So Monday comes, and I'm like, I remember I was actually like, the only place we had a phone, any privacy, was in my mum and dad's room. So I had to go up in my mum and dad's room, and I'm sitting there, I'm like looking at the window, waiting for the producer to answer. He said, oh, hi, so got some good news for you. We're casting you in the show. And I was like, oh, brilliant. Here's the arrogant part. I said, oh, who am I playing? Oh, you're going to be playing Harry. And I'm like, Harry? No, like, you know, oh, thank you very much. But it was like, because I wanted the part that was like, you know, the guy who was like, I think it was the scientist kind of guy, but Harry was meant to be this guy who overate and had like epilepsy, but you know what, see in the end it was actually one of the best parts I could have gotten it, because by the time the second series came up, I was more or less, I guess, the lead in it,
Right.
which was great. But again, you know, my first 2 jobs, first one working with Robert Carlyle, second one going out to Australia
Anybody else we know in that? Was there any big boys in that? Anybody
in
that
Jeopardy.
that went on.
Well, I mean, there's a couple of people ended up in things like River City and things like that, and I believe 3 or 4 of them they're no longer acting, I don't think. You'd probably recognise them, but nobody that's like you would go, oh, that's like a star name.
Bobby Carlyle then.
Right.
No, there was these 2 twins actually who in the very final series who were meant to be playing. I guess it was based around supernatural and aliens and stuff like that. And I believe at the time the 2 twins who were playing the aliens at the end were like this big. They were either like Swedish or Norwegian like pop group. 2 of them, 2 brothers. I don't know if they ever went
Olsen
on.
twins.
Kind of like probably an equivalent, but
Jedward.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know if they ever went on to superstardom, but apparently at the time they were quite big, big over there.
See, that's where you missed that Irish guy. And tonight here you thought he died. It's Craig Moncur from Jeopardy.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Oh,
I keep wanting to say Huey Green, but that was Opportunity Knocks.
I don't remember that. But I mean,
Don't you dare!
I'm too young for it. You know what I mean? Too young.
But no, it was This Is Your Life.
This Is Your Life.
Eamon Andrews.
Eamon Andrews.
I see you're older than me.
I remember the show.
My mum told me.
Remember the show. I don't remember anything about that. But that show was like genuinely huge. I mean, it won a BAFTA, like a children's BAFTA.
Wow.
And it also,
So
you know,
when was it screened?
started in 2001, I think, and then finished in 2004. So, and there was a gap in between. I don't think it went out in 2003. There was a break for some reason. I don't know what the reason was, but that was another story because we actually got invited down to the BAFTA ceremony, the children's BAFTAs. Mm-hmm. But I'd been doing this show rehearsals for this. I can't remember what it was now. It was quite a big thing. It was at the Usher Hall. But at that time, you know, I was like young. I was in my early 20s by that point. I found Bevy and stuff, and I was, you know.
Look at his itty bitty little face.
There I am there, mate. Look at that haircut.
I'll get this up on the cut at the end, but there he's there.
Aye, that's it, mate.
Young laddie.
Backpack and everything.
Out with the camera, early doors on the camera.
That's it, mate. That's probably.
See, and
that was the other crazy thing about that show, right? Because we were actually filming that as well.
so you were actually real live.
We were recording
as you
that.
being filmed.
So I genuinely have no idea how the editors even managed that because there was 2 cameras.
Oh, so it would have been the precursor for all the usual, all these
Found footage.
Fantastic.
But there was some scenes where there was 8 cameras running at any one time, and we're filming and we're talking. And we were talking to the director of photography, going, "Oh, what do you want me to cover?" It was really great experience, but I was thinking, God, how on earth are they actually going to edit this?
Yeah.
But going back to that story briefly. So again, finding alcohol in my early 20s. I'd been on this probably this week-long drinking session with some of my pals because, you know, I came off the back of that. I mean, it wasn't like life-changing money we got, but at my age, it was a good amount of money, and most of my pals were only really just starting their careers. So
YTS, yeah.
What's that?
£28 a week.
Exactly.
YTS.
Maybe went to £35 a week by the time you were doing it, but
Aye. Yeah. So is that like, aye, so, I mean...
Youth training
schemes, right.
It was.
Robbery.
Aye. Basically,
slave labour, aye. So I was like, right, okay, well, I've got... And as inevitably does, you know, you get... Once folk find out that you've got a wee bit of cash behind you and that, and you've got a bit of free time, you get folk hanging on and stuff like that. So I'd probably been out for a good 3 or 4 nights, and then doing rehearsals, and then with the climax it being this theatre show, which was a one-off. I wish I could remember what that was because it was quite a big thing. I can't, but I was meant to finish that
And then straight
8
to the
o'clock,
BAFTAs.
and then on a train, a sleeper down to London, to then go to the BAFTAs the next night, right? So about 2 nights into this week-long session, I start feeling ill, and I'm like, you know, do the show, and then my mate comes and meets me. He's like, "Oh, do you want to go for a few drinks before you get on the train?" I'm like, "Cool, right." So we went for drinks, and I'm by this point feeling got a cold coming on, thinking it's a
So
cold.
you managed the show, though?
Managed the show, got on the train feeling absolutely horrendous. travelled through the night, got to London, got to my hotel, and I'd rented a kilt and everything. It was going to be like this mad night. I got to my hotel and I started thinking, I'm no well here. And then I had to get in the bath. I was sweating, I was cold sweats. And I had to phone my pal and say, I can't come. I've got to get back on that train and go home because I feel like I'm dying. See, that night...
Was it poison for the drink? Like?
It was measles.
Measles?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, basically, I was on the train on the way back up overnight and I was... like, I felt like I was dying. I was hallucinating. And then got back. So I just basically run my immune system so low I got like that ill, I'd like to say that taught me a lesson, but I don't think it did because it went on for about another 3 or 4 or 5 years of...
stayed on the pitch.
I should have. I just drank my way through it.
See what happens when you try to come out.
Oh, it'd have been amazing. It was probably the best night I never had. So,
but you still remember it?
Still remember it. It was a story.
No, you weren't there.
It was a story.
Best night I never had. There's a quote.
Yeah. But
where was it you grew up?
So I grew up in, I guess the area would be in Edinburgh, just sort of around sort of East Craig, Clermiston type area, that sort of area down near. It's like a wee area between, I guess you would say, Barnton, Clermiston, and the Gyle. Mm-hmm. So it's like in the middle of that triangle. It's like a wee estate that not really many people know. Oh, do you?
Hey, you go up the Mad Mile, the roundabout, and going.
That's right.
Is it the Mid-Jokin?
That's right. Aye, that's right in the centre of where I was basically.
Used to park cars that we borrowed in that scheme.
Oh, did you?
Nice and quiet.
Aye.
Go up Drumbray into the right, bosh, full of students.
Aye, up that way was. Aye, you're right. Aye.
Because the Mid-Jokin was the midway park.
That's
you couldn't
right.
Drive over.
Couldn't get past it. You still can.
So you'd park there and walk through that.
That's right. I believe the reason that they probably never done that was because it would just be a cut through right the way up to. You wouldn't then have to go down the Maybury or whatever.
The Mad Mile would have been at the box.
It'd just be crazy.
So did you go to that big school up there?
The primary school, yeah, I went there.
Secondary.
Or the Craigmount. Yeah, I went there. Yeah.
See, when you were probably there, I was cleaning the windows.
Were you? Aye. When it was the big banana block.
Aye, the big huge one.
The concrete monstrosity.
That would have been about. No, you maybe been born. No, you could have been. It was about 86, 87.
So, no, because I left in 2001.
Sure, but you might have started then, because you would have done 4 or 5 years there if you'd stayed on to do the.
That would have been. When did you say 87 or 97?
86.
86. No, so I would have been 96. Missed you by 10 years.
96 you left.
No, so 96 I would have started, I think. 6 years I was there and I left in 2001. 2001. So I would have been 95. 95 I think I started. Do you know what? It's that long ago, honestly. I was looking at it the other day there and I was thinking, 2001? 22 years ago I left school. That's crazy, eh?
That is crazy. When I thought that you were in the same time frame as me.
We're all in the same time frame, though. Existing timelines. Aye, but
so see when you done looking at for JoJo, obviously to land the part would have been wow, and then to start alongside Bobby Carlyle. I mean, would you have known then how big he was as a star?
Yeah, you kind of knew because it was like
starstruck. Wow, this is crazy. Because you're saying it was like this is easy.
I definitely
search. What did he do prior to that? I'm going to have a look. You play that. I'll have a look.
Prior to Train Spotting.
Well, they done the grave digging one. Minded that one.
Aye.
No, I don't.
Him and Ewan McGregor, because that was kind of the starter, because it seemed to be a wee cliquey gang.
Oh, was
Shallow Grave?
Shallow Grave, that's right. Yeah, Shallow Grave. That was a great film. Yeah, Shallow Grave.
I'm sure that was based in like either Heriot Row or George Street, one of these nice old town, new town.
Aye. It's funny, I'd almost forgotten about that film. That was a great movie.
See, that's what I love, because we're Scottish, it's in our genetic coding. So when we see, we know it straight away.
Aye.
And it's, when you hear all these things, like the Hibs fans were obviously doing the road at West Ham in Birmingham, and they got beat.
Aye.
But they were like, wow, these guys are great. They loved it, even though we got beat. It always reminded me, we had the Anchor Inn in Grattan, and it was Scotland were playing somebody. We hired a piper. It was fantastic. The guy was reeking drunk. We done a Congo, round the pool tables, out the door, into the chippy door, out the other chippy door, back to the pub. He fell over. He phoned us the next day. We were just doubling him up with whiskey, and he was like, I've never enjoyed myself so much in my life.
Amazing.
Scotland got beat.
Aye.
We're Congo in that.
It's almost like that.
Something in us. But so the thing being is when we recognise our heritage, that's us. That's
Aye.
us. We're Scottish. We're Bobby Carlisle.
There's also probably something about that thing of like always having a good time, regardless of knowing, like, you know, because there's a long well, we're doing quite well at the football and stuff now, but there's been long pockets and windows where we've been dreadful.
And that's the thing, people are Scotland are saying it. We know.
I know. Aye.
Surprise.
Still going to enjoy ourselves.
We're all here for the beer you're at.
Aye.
I can't find much of his back catalogue, but pretty much Wikipedia is everything for train spotting, basically. The Full Monty 1997, The World Is Not Enough 1999,
Oh, it was good in that.
Angela's Ashes 99, The Beach 2000. That was
I was
one
good
of
in
the
the-
one
that
that
too.
he
Yeah.
was on the islands.
That's
in
right.
Polis,
Aye.
with the Doug.
Oh, so that was Hamish Macbeth.
Hamish Macbeth.
Hamish
aye,
Macbeth,
aye.
aye.
28 weeks later, 2007, and yesterday, 2019.
What was 51 states with Samuel L. Jackson?
That's
And he
right.
played the
Aye,
Scouser.
he had
He
the
was
golf.
Fucking brilliant. in
Aye.
that.
It's not even in here.
He's very
Wikipedia's shite
scrap.
nowadays. Human trafficking as well.
human trafficking.
Yeah.
Human traffic.
Human trafficking 2005,
Trafficking.
according to Wikipedia, but we
Right.
know Wikipedia's pish. So.
See, the thing with Robert Carlyle always felt
So
with
they
him was
say.
he was like he for me always felt a step above a lot of other Scottish actors because he could do that thing where he could convince you that he was really from anywhere. I feel like it's one thing actually that I used to love about acting, but then I found that, you know, eventually you just get drifted into the same kind of parts was when you actually got the chance to play a character. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but
Yeah.
most of the time when you are actually going for castings, it's like, oh, it's just you're just playing that. I mean, actually,
Man on bike.
well, I'll give you, when I was young, at a certain age range, it was like Ned.
Right.
You know, that Scottish
It
culture.
come up in the
Ned.
titles of Man Dancing. Ned 1 and Ned 2
Ned 2.
in a fight. But funnily enough, Kenneth Grantham, but that's no Dirty Den, is it?
Leslie Grantham.
Leslie
That's
Grantham.
Leslie. But Kenneth, Kenneth's an older actor. Shine on Harvey Moon when I was a lad. You'll no remember that, guaranteed. And James Cosmo. The first shoot, I've got the part. We've done a script reading in Ibrox Parish Church. That had a very funny, long story. But I've ended up going shoot to Greenock, and it was the old sugar factory or refinery. Lovely old building. And it was a scrapyard in the base of it. And the scene is that the gangster's in there. He's got an old American Buick or something. He's doing it up, but he's meeting the corrupt policeman. And Grantham is playing the policeman, so the gangster's there. I've turned up at the first day, excited wee boy. I've done a couple of adverts for IKEA just by pure chance, but now they want me in a movie, and I've actually got a character name. My name's Gordon Dole. So I went in, and in this room is two guys, and it's them two. And I said, "Oh, how you doing?" And honestly, see that air of fuck off. And I was
All
like,
right.
"Oh, you bugger." I felt very, very uncomfortable, so I left. And there was another room, like you're saying, if Mr. Carlyle thinks because he can adapt himself, he's a step over you. And I just thought, you pairy bastards, why you seclude yourself through there? Maybe they were doing their lines, but to me, I thought that they were like, "No, listen, son, you're actors. You're just a wee arsehole. Piss off."
That's interesting because I mean, one thing I'll say for Robert Carlyle, like the very short amount of interaction I had with him, he was very, very pleasant.
Yeah,
Gave us a lot of time.
Do you know what I mean? Especially to get a performance out of you, they want you comfortable.
yeah, and
Exactly, yeah.
and he was getting whipped about everywhere. You could tell he was like a guy in demand at that point. It was like, all right, he's only got so much, let's take him here. But he made time for us as, very young actors at the point. I mean, my friend, the guy I went to school at the time, he ended up with the bigger of the two parts, and he did a couple of things as well. But I don't even think he's involved in it anymore. I think he's sort of, I don't know what he's doing. I've not seen him for a long time.
See, I was really late in it because I was doing the college course in Morag. I'm sure you know Morag, our birth note.
I know the name. I don't know if I've ever met her.
She was a casting agent,
Right.
and she had the job for the IKEA thing. And it just was absolute pure chance because I'm plodding away in the PC, and she's like, "Oh, blah, 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 blah." I said, "What is it?" "Oh, I've got to go and interview all these actors." I know I'm not going to find what I'm looking for. I said, "What are you looking for?" "People that look tough." I said, "Tell me you owe me money and I'll look tough." She said, "No." "Well, you did it." That's what I'm through there, and they're like, "Aye, right, okay. On you go." I thought that was a great laugh. I left. My pal, he's spotting all these people, and that night I was working a gunner. Thursday night, and she phoned. She says, "Oh, look, Alan, I'm really sorry. I was rushing about there because there's like 70 odd guys have come up for this audition.
Yeah.
And all the client and all that. Everybody's in this room in this suite." And I just found it hilarious. I says, "Look, something I can tell my grandbairn." She says, "No, they really liked you." Fuck off. There's all these actors there. Why would you like silly old me? I went to the wardrobe call in Glasgow on the Sunday night, and that, right, and it was funny because their accents were all London. That, right, I will see you on set tomorrow, 7:30. I'm not on set. That sounds professional. Gary McCormack was there. He just finished doing Guys in New York, and he's laid over the chair with his big dolly bird, and he's like, "Yeah, just this and that." And I was like, "All right, you don't shite me." And I went to leave, and the guy's like, he says, "Al, you're in this one." I said, "No, I'm actually in the one in the pub." He says, "No, you're in this one, I know." And Gary's like, "So are you in two then?" I was like, "Aye."
Sounds like it.
It was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
It's really interesting you say that about that sort of perception of, being in a room with loads of different people and sort of seeing the level of people who are considered for parts. Because, I did a wee stint in doing, like, working with casting directors and things, and actually being an actor and then being in the room whilst people are auditioning, you start to realise actually how good pretty much everyone is. So then you start to have a new appreciation of, like, well, wow, actually, I ended up with a part here. Like, that's a lot. The closest one I ever had to that, which was, like, I thought was hilarious, was I got this casting through, and it was for it was like a big commercial. It was an audition for a Toyota Corolla car, right? So the audition was at I think it was the Glasgow Hilton. If it wasn't the Hilton, it was one of these big. It was one of these big hotels, and I went in, and I'm not even lying. I don't think I'm exaggerating here, but there must have been easy 300 people here.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is
How many parts?
One
part.
I think it was for one part. I think there was two different adverts, but it was like the one I was going for. So it was one role in it. So here we go. So anyway, I was there, and they said, "Oh, we're running a bit behind. Can you come back in, like an hour?" I think it was. And a couple of my pals were at university through in Glasgow, so I phoned my pal and I said, "I've got this casting, but I said it's just an absolute cattle call." I said, "Do you want to go for a pint?" So I met him, had a couple of pints, and then started to feel a bit loose in that. I didn't care if I'm like, shall I go back? Shall I not go back? Let's go back. So anyway, he came with me. He sees this room, and we're both thinking, this is hilarious. So anyway, did this casting, right? And I still remember it. The casting director said, "Right, sit in that chair. Cool. You're driving a car. Okay, right. You stop at the lights. A girl crosses the road. You look at her. You smile. Right, thanks. See you later." So I walk out, I'm like, fuck.
Drunk driving straight away.
No, but I'm like, oh Christ, here we go, waste of time. And then a week later, I get this phone call, and my agent had said to me the week before, like, I'm away. I'm going to be away on holiday for a week. So I get this call at my landline. "Oh, hi there, it's such and such from," I can't even remember what the company was now. It's from blah blah blah. I was like, "All right, are you free on this date?" I said, "Well, why are you asking?" "Well, we can't tell you because it has to go through your agent." I said, "Right, yeah, I think I'm free on that date." "So you tell me I've got the part? We can't tell you."
Your agent kid.
And I'm like, right, okay. So I had to wait a week. My agent phones me. "Oh, they want to offer you the role." I'm like, but I'm like, how? Like, out of hundreds of people, what did I do? That was
obviously drunk.
I wasn't actually drunk by that point. No, maybe but it was maybe that thing of going in with the whole aura of I don't care, I'm not getting this. So,
how many times have you got something that you've just no wanted, or you think, this is going to suck, and it ends up being a great night, or fucking no wanting this. Jobs wise, I can't be arsed with this shite. Next thing you know, the fucking phone's going out yours. It's
mad.
Aye,
totally. I'd still, as I said, I would have no idea why they picked me for that. I
always found it hilarious with my stumbling, because I just stumbled right in the door and like, "You got the part?" And "Well, for that, all right, okay." I left after day 2. Then Morag phoned me again. She says, "Alan, they're making a movie. The directors want to see a picture of you. do you mind dropping off a Polaroid? Aye, all right.
A Polaroid, God. I mean, I
Polaroid.
could show you. I remember when it was still
I
that.
had to
You
go
know
and
what I
find
mean?
a Polaroid.
Aye.
So I put it through the door next to me. Can you come shoot the George Hotel? The director wants to meet you. A guy called Norman Stone, great guy. And he's offered me the part. Now, I didn't know what I'm doing. I didn't know. I just know it's a movie. It's a Glasgow gangster movie. So the script reading was in Ibrox Parish Church. So we're there, and there's a guy sat next to me, and it's that same thing. Oh, how you doing? You all right? And I thought, I am all right. I didn't fucking know who you are, though.
Yeah.
I thought, right, okay. I said, we met before, and I thought, I can't do this. I said, where did we meet? Because, I get that. People will say to me, how are you doing? I didn't know you. And he says, no, I met you at the IKEA auditions. And because I'd never done anything like that in my life, every minute of that whole day, every second is recorded in my Akashic record. I can bring it back like that. I didn't remember your face. The pair guy had turned up for the auditions, never got any of the parts, and his arsehole went and stole 2 of them. I'm like, oh no, this is what this guy does for a living.
But
I felt really bad about that.
But it's not, I mean, that's the thing.
When I'm saying you go to drama and all this and you do that, I play parts in life.
Aye.
But
we're all playing parts, aren't we? That's all it is.
But if you train academically for the roles and you walk in there and some asshole walks past on stage, like, whoa, what are you doing?
But then I think that's the thing, though. I mean, it's like, if it's for you, you'll get it. If it's not, you won't. I mean, you see that is the classic thing. Like, that was the classic, like, the pattern of bullshit that happens. It's actually one of the things I kind of got fed up with. You know, you'd go for an audition, you'd end up sitting next to someone else, and you'd get so what you've been working on? Oh, I just done that. And, you know, the bullshit would start bragging about, I've just done this and that and that. And 9 times out of 10, you think, you've not.
Yeah.
No, you've not. But it's that, like, bravado. And at the time, you think that you're being, like, somehow different and being, like, kind of clever. But then you realise, actually, the desperation, people can smell it a mile away. Right. They really can.
Smell bullshit.
Yeah.
But that's what was funny with Gary McCormack, because he's like, I just come back for Rome, eh? Really? Magic. No way you have a conversation and it's that psychology where you say, hello, what's your name? My name's Alan. What have you been up to today? No. What you doing in the morning? Nothing. Just closed. So he's like, aye. No, he's pursuing it. What meet you ask, but I'm not interested.
Aye.
And he's like, it's back for Rome, working with Martin Scorsese and that. I didn't even know
who's that.
I can mind when
he used
Cameron
to Diaz.
He used to come in that bar salsa all the time, and he was always telling us he was going there, doing this, doing that, and it was like, "You want another pint, mate?"
Just shut up.
He's another pint. It was like, for fuck's sake,
I was in the
Greg,
doctor's surgery.
He was sound like, don't get me wrong.
I was in the doctor's surgery in Stockbridge, and I'm looking at the magazine as you do. You said about the flicks house, and I flicked through. Martin Scorsese releases his new movie, Gangs in New York, and I'm thinking, I recognise that cunt. It was Gary, and I'm like, oh no, because I thought, shut up, you're full of shite. Here you are in Glasgow for some crackpot advert for IKEA, but you're just back for Rome with all these A-listers. And then I watched the movie, and there he is with Daniel Day-Lewis, his right-hand man right through the movie, and like, no fucking way, wasn't it lying?
Because he was the dad in Billy Elliot, wasn't he? He was the kind of like the guy who disapproved. So was that before that?
The other one, Sweet 16.
Sweet
16 filmed in Greenock, or predominantly Greenock.
Oh wait,
Big G's pal. I think he set fire to the house.
Wait, so hang on. So Gary McCormack wasn't in Billy Elliot?
No.
Not that I'm aware
Definitely
of.
no.
Well, I check.
Who's the dad then?
Oh, that's what's his name? He's a tough actor. Certainly wasn't him.
That's wait a minute. I know, but he's Scottish as well, though, is he? No.
But it's no Gary.
Gary McCormack is.
It was Gary Lewis.
Gary Lewis.
Gary's right.
So who's
Another
Gary McCormack then? Who did play?
Gary McCormack. He done when Irvin Welsh done his trilogy, and Tommy.
Oh, it's the guy up the stairs.
That's him.
That's right.
See, when he done that part, I thought, oh, you fucker.
Aye.
And he says he just marched in on that because he was a bass guitarist.
Yeah,
They exploited
Yeah.
Remember him now, aye.
That's right. Oh, he was in the Exploited, was he?
Aye,
All right.
he was a punk.
Aye.
He couldn't know that malarkey.
He looks a wee bit like Thingy.
There is, yeah.
He looks a bit like Sid Vicious, eh?
Aye.
He was in the Exploited with Watty and all that, and I remember saying to him, I said, why did you leave the band? No,
There is there.
band.
Gangs
Still
in New
going.
York.
That's him.
Aye, I do remember him now, actually. Aye.
And he says, I came up with, she was doing a gig one night, and, fucking spat in my face. I that's disgusting. I'd get up with that. That's why they spit in your face. He said, oh, well done it. I just said, oh, no. And I remember them, because they were pre-me. I wouldn't
Right.
have anything to do with that stuff. But they were all bonkers.
Aye.
I can't remember what he'd done beyond that, but I'm sure it was open auditions in the City Calf for Irvin's stuff, and he just marched in. I think he may have knew Irvin, but he just brassed it.
Right.
Apart, and I tell you,
He was good in that.
to watch that again for a guy that isn't an actor. Because when we done the IKEA adverts, obviously, me and Gary were casting, they had the opening one, which was the long version, and then they had 2 reminders for you, just to not to forget. So it was 3 overall, and that was the launch one. And we saw it in about six different locations. So set up there, and you know yourself, it's a long process, so we're there. First scene was outside the Barrowlands.
Right.
That was hilarious, because they've set the camera up on the other side of the street. So we're marching down the street, and everybody's hitting. And the drunks are coming up with da-da-da, and I went for one of them. It was just, honestly, the whole thing was hilarious, because we had done one in the pub in the morning.
Right.
Then we shifted to the Rotunda, and we'd all having lunch. The next minute, half of them disappeared. They just pulled up with a pickup truck with a bus shelter in it, threw it at the side where the SSEC, you know, that
Aye.
place is now. That wasn't there. Just stuck it there, shot the next one. The guy that was playing the lead in that was piss drunk. I remember him, he had a mullet. You'll have seen him in loads of stuff. Great Scottish actor as well, but he's half pissed because we'd like, it's lunchtime. Like, I would say, I'll have a lemonade, a bit of lime in it, I'll have a Coke. I'll have a vodka lemonade. What? The English guys, they were hilarious. They're all dressed in Prada. All these guys wore Prada. And he says, once we'd finished that night, we'd done the Barrowlands one. He says, that guy, he says, he was funny as fuck. He said, kept going on. Where's my Lucas? Where's my fucking Lucas? He says, he's doing the thing about the rug. He says, next minute he's talking about a Persian fucking carpet. He was pissed. The bottle of Lucas head was fully geared. In between sets, like,
that guy really likes to get his glucose in him, eh?
Honestly, they found it fucking hilarious.
You meet. I mean, one thing I will say is that, you know, in the film and TV, the business or the industry, you meet like unbelievable characters.
Right.
It's a business that just, I don't know. Maybe it's because the sort of the perception is that, you know, it leads to a life of, you know, a different kind of life, I guess, that outside, I guess, the monotony of normal day-to-day stuff. So it maybe attracts extroverts, but you know, it's not. I think a lot of the time it's not what people think it is as well. I think there's a perception that it's really glamorous, and actually what you find is learn your lines and wait around and do that again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. When I met the guys that morning, we met in this one place at Port Glasgow. Then we went through, shot that, come back. So we were back, and I come off the camera for, say, maybe 10 o'clock. I didn't go back in front of it till 7 o'clock that night, and what a fucking long day that is.
Yeah. And sometimes you didn't even get on set. You work all day, and they're like, "No, well." But still, a lot of the time you still get paid for it. So a lot of actors are like, give me some of that.
They had a close set on Florence and the Machine when she done her Queen of Peace video in Oban. So we're sitting in a minibus, it's cold, it's boring, it's shy, how can we not be on and watch what's happening? It wasn't until it came out, I'm showing my daughters, somebody's appeared, I've seen it, so they're watching it, and it's where they're laughing, they're just wee. This guy would have been maybe 9 or something, and her and the wee one are laughing, we're laughing at the women's boobies.
All right.
I didn't know, that's why it was a close set.
Right. Right, aye. Chilly that day, was it? Aye, mad. I mean, yeah, it's a strange industry when it's like, you know, it's like, all right, what you doing today? Oh, I've got I mean, one experience I had, because one thing I would say, like, see with the acting, right, where I've been really lucky, don't get me wrong, like, I had a good few years of it, and I'd done okay, but, you know, if I look at the money I made over 10 years, I mean, as well just getting a part-time job probably and knocking my pan in and then just, you know, taking the auditions. Yeah, exactly, aye. But I've always been very lucky with who I've worked with. Like, so, you know, my first job obviously was with Robert Carlyle. I then got a part in Inspector Rebus. That was about maybe a year or two, or maybe that was in between series actually, at Jeopardy. But then I worked with John Hannah. So I worked. Right. I did 2 or 3 scenes with him.
You never done the one in the Triangle Club?
Triangle
in
Club.
Pennywell.
The part it was filmed at in Muirhouse.
Shooting.
No, it wasn't a shooting. My one was it was the youth club down there.
That's it. That's where it was.
Aye, I got
the very
pulled
end
out.
scene.
Aye.
At the very end, John Hannah's there, and Ampolis appeared.
Oh, really?
Shot.
That could have been in the same episode.
It would be
Aye.
if you were at the Triangle Arts Centre, then that's where it was, because
Aye.
it was only that one with John Hannah.
Right.
wasn't it?
Well, there you go.
I
Cl-
stayed-
our
if you
paths
look-
have
if you
crossed.
And
looked
what
up, I was
movie
up
was
there
that?
Shouting out the window.
What
It
was
was
that?
Rebus.
Rebus.
Yeah.
Right.
I had this great scene with him though, where I've done I've thrown a brick through. My character was like this young. He was like a racist, basically part of this this group called the White Thistle Brigade. And the opening window is like, the opening scene is me and a bunch of my pals, and we're basically attacking this woman's car because
She's ethnic.
yes. So and then, but I had a funny story with that. Like, when we grew up, it was there wasn't really like. There wasn't like, I don't know, I don't think there was the fear of, the whole fear of the other, because we just hung about with folk from all different backgrounds, you know what I mean? So we had quite a diverse group of friends growing up. But one of my pals was watching the episode a few years ago, not knowing I was in it.
Really?
And then obviously we grew up with this other guy who was from an Asian family, and when he seen me attacking this car with a brick, he was like, oh, I wish I'd fuck it. If I got him, I'd batter him and stuff like that. And then it wasn't until, so he said he was watching the episode, and it wasn't until John Hannah came in, because he drags me out by the hood, right? And so you don't see my face up until this point.
I remember that you get dragged through the corridor.
That's right.
Through the door.
And my mate said he was watching it. He was like, get him. And then John Hannah pulls my hood down. And he was like he couldn't believe it. He was like, that's my mate.
That's you.
Aye.
Racist bastard.
But these horrible characters they're the best characters to play,
I always
because
find that you get too many old women like, what would that bastard doing or that? Because if I ever mention man dancing,
Yeah.
James Cosmo, yep, he'll get a lot of credence for it. But Alec Ferns, you'll get a glaikit look like that.
I know that name though, Alec
But if I
Ferns.
says to
I'm
you,
searching
Trevor for EastEnders, you'd be like,
Aye.
oh, the one that raped Wemo.
Oh,
And it's
right,
all
aye.
right, lad. It's just a guy who's a little apart. And
Aye.
people are like, oh, didn't you like that bastard? Do you see what he done to her? And that's no real.
Aye.
it's
It's that
technology.
separation, isn't
There
it?
we go. I'll show you there, son. That guy.
He's done a few things.
Oh yeah.
He done a cracker on an island, and he was a wee policeman. He was really heavy in it, and then he done one on a ship. I can't remember. But no, he was a good laugh. Him, I had a great time. Again, because of the commercials, and then to the movie. That first day was quite a shocker, because I think I'd done 5 or 6 days on that, and we actually, our final scenes was in Newcastle under the Angel of the North. That in itself was just hilarity. We smashed the car, we wrote the car off. The dummy gun is getting pointed at the guy's face, and he's pissing wet. Smashed the car, everything's going tits up. I'm sliding down this fucking mud hill. The one that's at the top is it's being used. It goes off. But this other one's just a blank. I've got a machine gun. It's rubber. But he says, how do we know these things are safe? Director's like, good point. Gather round. And then the armourer says, these things are checked. Thoroughly checked before they even come on set. As you can see, there is nothing in the magazine. Puts it back in. There is nothing in the chamber. He let it go and the fucking thing went off.
No
You know
way.
yourself, blank could have burnt a hole in this guy's face. There was a lassie standing, she's like that, watching him. And then for about an hour and a half later, she was still like this.
Frightening.
Bang!
But you're putting your. I mean, that's one of the things with a lot of these bigger films. I mean, you obviously seen the thing that happened with that.
Yeah,
And what was it? Who's the actor again down in? I forget his name now. The actor, big actor, Baldwin. Yeah,
Baldwin, aye, the
Aye.
American shooting.
I mean, that's a big movie, and
Aye.
stuff can still go wrong. And you're kind of putting your
Brandon Lee, was that no a shooting?
Brandon Lee. I think that was a
Set.
blank or something, was it not? Or,
It went horribly wrong.
I mean, it's dangerous. I mean,
Yeah.
you're kind of trusting. You're kind of putting your life in the hands of. I remember one story specifically. Actually, this was in Jeopardy, and the scene was we had this camper van, and we're going about the outback. This was in the second series, and there was this scene where I had to drive it, and it was a private closed off runway, but it was like so basically. The shot was me going down this runway, which was meant to be a road, because obviously we needed full control of it. and then there's what's meant to be something coming towards me, and I'm meant to like go into this trance and just like be driving, and then at the last minute in the edit it makes it look like it's gone. But so they said to me, right, get up to a certain speed and we'll tell you when it's enough, and then we'll cut. So I'm going down this runway and I'm getting, up to like, I think it was kilometres in Australia, can't fully remember, but it's camper van, there's me and about another 4 or 5 actors in it, and the sound guy tucked down the back, like, was trying to get the sound. And I'm going down this runway, it's like 60 kilometres, 70, 80. I'm thinking, how have they not said stop yet? This can't be right. And then, unbeknownst to me, the radio wasn't working, but the guy in the sound operator could hear it, and he's going, stop, stop, stop. But because everyone's screaming, it's meant to be like, it's meant to be real. There's a van coming. I'm thinking, this is really good acting here, by the way. But yeah, he got out, and like you were saying with the person who was shaking, he was shaking because he was telling me he'd actually been in a car accident about 2 or 3 years before. And he said, like, mate, I was terrified. I said, I couldn't hear anything.
Aye.
So, but it's like that safety thing. It's like, there's all these protocols put in place, close the road, radios, blah, blah, blah. If you can't, it's like sometimes things go wrong.
You think, oh, they're doing really well.
This is great acting.
Faster.
Fantastic. We'll get another BAFTA for this. Aye. Weird.
I forgot to your cut.
So what else? What else are you doing recently, or from that was Jeopardy? What did you go on to do after that? Or?
So that was that was my sort of, I guess, my early 20s, and then I kind of got out of acting. I never really got out of it. It wasn't like a choice, unfortunately. It's just like, you're considered a child actor up to a certain point. Then you hit a window in your life where you're not an adult, you're not a child in terms of playing ages. So I was like, well, I need to do something else. I ended up doing a lot of events work and things like that. And then after a while, I thought, well, I need to get back into something more creative, because events work is hard going. I mean, acting is genuinely, I don't mean to be disrespectful, I loved it, and it was genuinely the easiest job I've ever had compared to other things I've done in my life, because it was just a pleasure to turn up and actually do it.
Yep.
Yeah, there's pressures, you have to know your lines, you have to turn up on time, that kind of thing, but I would take that any day of the week over having to get into an event job at 8 in the morning and then not finishing until midnight, and you're having to deal with people who don't really appreciate the amount of work that goes into events, when you're doing all this kind of stuff. And then, I mean, that's only the early part. I ended up getting into, I would say, like a really good, a good sort of role within that industry for a good few years, and then things became better with that. But like I said, I always had this sort of feeling that I needed to get back into doing something creative, and that's when I kind of bought a wee camera and thought I'll just start doing wee bits and bobs, And at the time, social media hadn't really taken off, so it was kind of easier, I guess, to sell a service. Whereas, like we said at the start, now everybody's got phones. It's getting harder and harder to monetize, So now I'm working with a scheme, obviously, as you guys know, doing a bit of supporting Gary Fraser, who's running a filmmaking workshop at the moment. I'm kind of there, I guess, as so again, coming back to the camera work, sort of there as, I guess, a bit of a technical tutor, and sort of giving an overview of, some camera work for people who have never picked up a camera before.
Yeah. So we were speaking to the boys about it earlier on this morning, how good it's been and how open a lot of the people that have joined it, and people letting go their issues or issues that have affected them in life. So it's brilliant. That, I mean, I'm really enjoying it for one.
Creativity is that universal language.
Aye.
It's
the other thing is you bring in the goods, because see, when I did my class 2, strangest thing in the world is you've got your driver's license, a bit of card. Somebody says to you after 5 days, you can drive that big stupid looking thing. But nobody will give you a shot unless you've got 2 years experience. Anybody that wants to learn camera, to get a hold of that piece of kit that is worth a lot of money, and especially in deprived areas, nobody's got that. If they've got it, they've burgled somebody or broke into their car.
I always feel as well, like, I mean, I don't mean this, this probably sounds quite general, it's not really like aimed, I always feel like, see the creative industries, and I get it to a certain extent because it's such a hard industry to crack, so that when people get opportunities, a lot of the time they're not willing to share. So it's creative industries a lot of the time, I would say, are heavy with gatekeepers who will get to a certain position and won't open doors.
Right.
I've never been like that, because I've been on the receiving end of trying to phone people and being told, oh, well, you can't, like, it feels like there's no way in.
Right.
So now, anytime I can help someone, don't get me wrong, you've only got so much energy and so much time in the day. If you try to help everyone all the time, you would be a very tired person. But if it's as easy as me going, I know somebody who can maybe help you with that, I'll at least try and make an introduction. The reason I was sort of saying that was that it's like creativity should be for everyone. There shouldn't be limitations. You should be able to start your journey somewhere without feeling like, nah, you can't. There's no way you can do this because it's too difficult.
Yeah, I know. I'd never done anything like that at all in my puff, and walking through the door was like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? But then I just seen a room full of people that were just like me, and that for me was what got me involved.
I mean, some of the most I feel like interesting. I feel like it's going back to your point earlier where you said, like, I can't remember the words you used, but I used to say, I'm not an actor, I'm just like, taking work off these. And I used to kind of be like, oh, well, I've gone and, like, I've done drama, and I used to get really annoyed if somebody with, I guess you would say, maybe lived experience got a part. But then I'm like, actually, wait a minute. Some of the most interesting people that I have now met through my life at 40 years old now have come from lived experience backgrounds.
That only comes with life in itself. Because when you look at that, you think, well, I learned this art that way. Fuck me, they went through something else to learn theirs. Yeah, that's lived experience can cost a lot more than financial or time.
And I've got this saying that I think is true. Like I think I made this up. I might have stolen this from someone. It's maybe like one of those quotes you see. Yeah, exactly. But I always say, like, you never see the journey, only the destination. And it's like, you see somebody there, but you think to yourself, right, if I knew their journey, would I want to go through what they've gone through to get to that point, or would I like to be where I am? Probably just where I am.
Isn't that universal, though? Do you know what I mean? Because that applies to everything. When you see some people, and if you understood their journey, you're like, oh, I see why they're that way. Or do you know what I mean? I can see why they would want to rebel against life. Because
you become more empathetic. I think the older, some people don't. Some people become less empathetic. But one thing I've really tried to do over the last sort of year is that, I mean, I was aware that I was, going back to that arrogance thing of like, oh, what am I getting that part? No, oh, I've got a part. Sure. Great. Yeah, exactly. I've tried to be more grateful now and more appreciative for the things that I have and the things that I have achieved, rather than things that I don't have or the things that I've not achieved yet, because I think that when you actually take time to reflect on what you have done and be like, I'm doing all right. Yeah. Like, that's...
the one thing, watching these guys in the scheme and doing the workshop in there, it's your ability to, do you know what I mean? Because there is a comfortability when you take control, because you're no condescending, you're not saying this, that, and the other, and you're drawing them forward. Now, listen, do this, do that. And because I'm sat there, I'm not there invested because I want a part. I'm just there as a supporting role, but also watching as well, and watching you doing your thing on the sly with these people and just drawing something else out of them. And next minute, they're not in the spotlight. They are the spotlight. And it's you putting something back. I remember somebody saying, you always want to put something back. Mine is that, if I get out of Shit Creek, I'm not going to keep walking because my path looks nice. I'm going to go back and put my hand
pull
in
somebody
and
else out.
Yeah. So I think that's where your empathy comes in, that you know what it's like on the long ones. You know the disappointment. You know if somebody else had gave me a hand, maybe I'd have got that part, to put something back is a very endearing thing. I like watching that.
I like seeing what Craig does with the guys at that as well, because you're forcing the people to get in about it, rather than them sitting in the background playing away with the camera. No, get in there, film that for that angle, do your own thing, see what seems natural to you. And I like that aspect, and you shouldn't apologise about it so much.
Right.
When you're asking to drop in a subtlety. It's just my opinion, by the way. I'm no pro here at all. But it's amazing, because these guys are just getting in about it, where they wouldn't maybe never have even have thought of anything like that. You know
yourself, it's very daunting to, one, be in the room amongst all the strangers. Aye. Two, to actually talk to them. Three, you actually get out and perform. To knock that off. And again, there's individuals there that are like, no, that's not for me yet. I mean, the technical side, you're like, good. Behind the cameras, far more important, because like my daughter, she's right into the whole thing, and hopefully she'll go off and study her stuff. But it's watching, like, say, Ryan, the director will sell you the image, But he's not only looking through the eyes of the director, he's actually looking through the audience as well, because he can see what they're seeing. You think, wow, that is do you know what I mean? It's untapped because nobody talks about it.
It's collaborative process, and it's like, there's a lot of wheels in the machine.
But without you saying it, it's like you're saying, I've got the ability to take the photographs, so I'm not going to show you, because if I show you, you might take a better photograph of me, and then I'll be at your job. Where it's just like, you use the camera.
Yeah.
You're going to take the photograph. It's that. It's a total role reversal on how it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the big part of that as well is that, the best way to learn is to actually do something. And I think it's one thing that, I think I said it in the first sort of chat, was that, there's no mistakes. It doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong. You're just really experimenting. If it works for you, great. And if it doesn't, then you move on and you find what does work for you. It's like a lot of my life I've been far too serious about things, and actually it's like trying to get a bit of joy back, and one thing I do get genuine joy from is helping other people to develop, and to see the change in energy from people, and to see that there's that belief that actually you can, it's not beyond you, you can do something outside of the norm if that's what you want.
That norm is what we've been told to accept as a norm. Like, no, didn't you be going on about this acting pish because you're rubbish at it? Get a job, you need to pay the bills. All right, then. So you sack it all. And that inner child is gone until you're in your 40s and you want to get your ear pierced and wear ripped jeans. Then you might think, you know what? I'm going to audition for these parts. I'm going to be an extra. Or, do you know what I mean?
So much of that is environment, though, as well. I mean, that's where I've been so lucky. Like, my parents, my family have always been supportive. There's never really been that doubt of, what if it doesn't work out? I mean, I'm sure there maybe there has been, but it was never vocalised to me that, no, you can't do this. I was always told, if that's what you want to do, it's like, I mean, family and environment and stuff will influence you. That's like undeniable, but you always have to remember you're also your own person. You don't have to live the life that anybody else wants you to live. You live the life you want to live. But also, you deal with the consequences of that. If it works, great. If it doesn't, then...
It's only you that's carrying
exactly.
But at the end of the day, is it no better to try something that you've always wanted to do than sit back and imagine?
Of course.
I never did this. I never did that.
That's
or
that reflection.
What if?
Because what's the worst? I mean, you fail, and then what? You just then do something else. That at
it's
least
a mistake, and everybody learns from the mistake. So you better your own self.
It's that weird thing, like, because I have that conflict quite a lot, because one thing I do think about, it's not like, it's not a fear of death or anything like that, because I don't, it's more like, right, from the moment we're born, more or less, we know where we're going. Life is finite. So why do we spend our time doing things we really don't want to do? And I've done it a lot in my life.
Bingo.
Why? Why do we do it?
It's a fucking phrase that pays that, isn't
it?
Why?
I still don't know. Because, I mean, that's maybe oversimplistic because you've got bills to pay and things like that. But, why do we always then go and want more and more of something that we don't actually want and then put more pressures on ourselves?
The phrase that obviously sinks the ship is, I fucking hate this job, but the money's good.
Yeah.
If it's just money, what, go rob banks? You'll get more excitement.
Is that official advice, by the way? Should maybe
definitely. I mean, here's another arsehole sitting beside him that's worked all his fucking days, day and night, and sometimes fucking 10, 12, 14, 15, 18 hours a day for the last fucking 30 years. And I think to myself, I look at the bank balance, I look at where I'm living, I look at the things I've got, and I'm like, what the fuck did I do all that for? Because it's got me fucking exactly where I am, which is
it's
the same place, is it?
Your ability to go like that. Now, watch, take the camera, see if you can get that. Oh, I see it. All right. Oh, that's Barry. Oh, that's magic. And away they go. You go home at night and you think, You've obviously, it's the same as your boys, we said that earlier. It's getting somebody a bit of that hopium. Hopium's great. Just, wow.
Where did you get that, by the way? That's the first time you hear you saying that today.
Hopium.
Belongs to somebody else.
Oh, well.
Like Craig.
It's yours now.
I think I made that up. I think I'll steal that.
It's a funny one. I mean, I think it's, life is really short. And sometimes it takes, like, some people never.
But that's the thing, Craig. We all say life's really short, but how many of us fucking act on it? How many of us have been indoctrinated to, you've got to work, you've got to pay the bills, you've got to get a mortgage, you've got to fucking do this, you've got to do that. we're sitting saying, well, no, there's another fucking way, man. Money's
It's
no
bill
fucking
paying-
everything.
Bill paying's to that part. So, and I've had the conversations. I've actually taken people, and they'll come in and they sit in the chair and it's like, and like, you've just came in. There's something no right here that you're pissed off when you're actually coming in.
Yeah.
Only you's going to do something about it. But what if I say something and I get sacked? Well, then clearly it's not the place you want to be, because if somebody can't listen to you, you really shouldn't be giving them your time. Go somewhere else where you're going to be listened to, appreciated, and guess what? You'll develop within yourself. So the guys coming along to Aidan and Mark's class, then they get to meet you.
Yeah.
The next minute they're going home and they're telling the wife and kids, "Here, I was taking photos. Look at this. Look, they sent me. I done that. That was me. That was me. Look at me. Look at me."
Sometimes it's like you need something like that to break you out here. I mean, I don't know. Like, you know, I'd never make judgments on any other people's, because I don't know. It's that whole thing about working and walking other people's shoes. Like, so you don't know what's going on with people's lives. But, you know, you think that if you can even just make a little bit of difference to somebody's life just through a little bit, even like an act of kindness,
Is that no evolution in itself?
Yeah, and but there's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because we talk about evolution, like, you know, the whole thing about tribes and things like that, and how many people are lost now. It's like we seem to exist in this like setup that's totally alien to how we actually should be living our lives. So I was sitting the other day there, where was I now? I think I was in Edinburgh somewhere, and it was like there was so much noise and things. It was so overwhelming, and I was thinking, this is not the environment, you know, because I mean. Short of things like maybe some random accident or some crazy illness or something, like the mortality rate for us overall as humans is a lot less than if we were living, you know, still hunting and had a natural predator.
Yep.
But the environment around us isn't natural to that, because it's put us in this like false sense of safety. So all our senses are overwhelmed and all that by all this stuff that's going on, and we can't work out why we're depressed or sad or whatever. It's because we're totally overwhelmed in our environment.
Totally overwhelmed. And I'm going to add to that, because I go to a place up north called Loch Carron, and it's a wee escape for me and the family, right? Now, I went up there recently for a holiday, and I paced the fucking garden all week because I had nothing to do. And I'm sitting there, and I'm trying to find things to do, and that was getting away from the grind, getting away from the work life, getting away from the fucking noise. We were up there at the weekend, and Claire and I got out the van, and we were like, can you hear that? There was no fucking noise whatsoever, but it was still playing in our heads. We got out the van, and it's like, there's this noise, and it takes fucking time for that noise to fuck off. It is the bizarrest fucking thing. You'll know it with going away your travels the last wee while. You get away from that noise. It is overwhelming. It is too much. You're absolutely right, Craig.
The chakra reading thing. And I thought, okay, hippie. The person had invested their time in me and says to me, oh, look, and I thought I was going along to support them. I think they genuinely thought, oh, and you could benefit for this. And it's hippie stuff for me. And if you had said to me outside, right, Alan, you're going to go in here, do you hide anything? Nope, open book, anything you want you can have. I sat there, and there's all these books on the wall, and it's all very intelligent stuff, very spiritual. Everybody else is a very, very calm place, and they're all nice. And it honestly felt like there was corrugated iron and bits of shite covering my heart, and it just slid. And this thing just grew to about 10 times its size, and it was fucking beating like, wow, I'm finally free, I'm finally free. And I felt this overpowering thing that, wow, I sheltered this thing. And the next minute, boom, there was no noise. The noise is the thought. It's thinking constantly, all right, okay, got to do this, got to do that, the bills, da-da-da-da-da-da, or other people's, because you know yourself, you being an empath, you can pick up and say, no, somebody cut them on then, what's from you? Oh, I'm fine. No, you're not. I can see through the fakery. You hear that noise in your head, and it's just when you remove that, you think, wow. And it does take a bit of conditioning to find that place. But going back to the acting thing as well, that's a release, because it's just like, put the shite there and kid on you're somebody else, right?
Yeah.
No bother. The noise goes off.
Yeah.
And it's one, to me, that lovely word, the cathartic, I find it very cathartic doing that. It's a fucking laugh. It's funny. And it's no real. It's the only opportunity. They want you to be real, but you know it's fake.
But that's the interesting thing. Like you were saying, none of it's real. None of this. I mean, obviously it's real in as much as, you know, like we're all sitting here in this room, but then it's like, well, you know, it's even just like it's the light going into your eye and how it decodes it. And I just think, and again, it sounds like all the spiritual side of things, but I think we're all energy. And I think we're just big magnets. We attract things and we push things away. If you're in a good headspace, a good vibrational field or whatever you put it, however you see the world, you pull people towards you who are positive for you. If you're in that negative mindset, you just get more and more and more. That's why sometimes you can wake up in a bad mood and your day just seems to go to shit. You know what I mean? 3 or 4 things happen in the morning.
Fuck this, fuck that. Whoa. Did you dream about this last night? Because it's impossible to wake up with that kind of negativity without putting your mind into gear and creating this negativity, because it's only you that's creating it. Nobody's coming and went, here, Craig, there's a bag of negativity. You're like, oh, fucking wankers.
Aye. It's that environment, though, isn't it? It's, again, going back to that thing, it's just not really conducive to positivity. Sorry, everything we do is like, I say we, like us as a species, it's like that overwhelming thing again. It's to make you feel like shit. You walk through a supermarket or somewhere I go a lot is like St James's Quarter before, I'll sit there and I'll just listen and watch what's going on, and I think I walk past things and I'm like, I can't afford that. It just instantly makes you feel inadequate.
Yeah.
But it's all things, but then sometimes you step back and you go, do I really want this? No. Well, why is it making me feel that way? Because I'm letting it.
By design.
Yeah.
Oh, they know exactly what they're doing. Again, it's an agenda that doesn't belong to us, because you could sit there and just laugh and think, wow, you're going to pay £500 for that pair of shoes. Go over there for 30 quid. Why would you do that? Because it makes you feel better.
Aye.
Or is it making you feel better in a narcissistical sense that I've only got 40 quid trainers, so you're like,
I think humans as well, like to a certain, because again, it's like, I'm not going to get like mad into politics or anything like that, but humans are like, I think as a species, is we're very trusting, sometimes, and we'll say things like, oh, they wouldn't do that, whether that be towards advertisement or politicians or whatever, but then the mistake we make is that everybody thinks like us. A lot of people don't. There's people out there who want to exploit you. But the problem is that we have put people, I think a lot of the time, who are meant to look out for us in positions of power, who just want to exploit us.
Just doing the exact same thing. Councils, governments, all these people, they seem to be like, no, we're going to cut the funding on that place. It's our money.
And that's why if you want change, it can't come from the standard structures. It has to come from other structures.
That's why I find that it's really bizarre. You watch and you listen to the wee bits. So you get Klaus Schwab, Build Back Better, the Great Reset, all of these things. Think, everything you're telling me is leading to believe that it has to be knocked down in order to rebuild it. And guess who's going to be the helm? It's not going to be used because you've failed. It'll be this brand new breed that do not want, they need. So we need, as the human species, this connection thing, this vibrational thing. We were all happy. If somebody's no happy, the best thing you can do is try and lift them up again. Yeah. The scheme's doing it. Your involvement with the scheme's doing it. I see this thing, and we've said it a long time ago, it's this organic growth where everybody is no lifting themselves, they're actually pulling up other people.
Community,
And there is no price on that because you cannot buy it. It's not for sale.
Yeah, I think, I've not known Aidan and Mark that long, but, the energy I got off them is just great. I love sitting down, I love chatting to them. I think they just seem like they're,
I was at them, I was like, can you not do a franchise and have a scheme here, there and everywhere?
Who knows, eh?
I mean,
who knows?
Works. It seems to work for them. That's what, when I went, because I went to one of the art classes with the guys on the Friday and watching it, because I need to know that they're invested, knowing themselves, knowing their class, knowing ticking boxes for the people above that give funding, and the people sat round the table. And when the one person opened, and I thought, the second one opened, I thought, no, these guys are the real deal. They're creating an environment subliminally to make them comfortable enough that they feel among strangers that they can let something go, and you're like, wow. If that was in, you're sitting in a pub with your mate, and audition's pish, and somebody comes up with a story, and like, whoa, I can put that away. Judgment is always there within that life. These guys are given an environment where there is no prejudice, there's no judgment, and they feel happy enough to let it go. And you know yourself, once you've let something go, that problem's gone. You can move on because you've left it there. And do you want to take that with you? Nah, not really. It's shite anyway. I didn't need it.
The problem is that all the structures, I think, that go about day to day aren't designed to make you comfortable, are they? They're all designed to keep you in the You know,
Which
whether
is the
here and
agenda
now.
of the Bampots.
aye, yeah.
Here's the job.
So, Craig Moncur.
Sorry, we got a wee bit.
Aye,
we
used
went
to.
over there, eh?
Used to can talk.
Dear you.
Right, Craig.
We were acting.
Yes. What's next for Craig Moncur? Is it acting? Is it helping? Is it working? Is it cameras? What is it? Or is it anything that'll come your way? What's next for you?
I think one thing for me in my life the thing that's been ever present for me whenever I've been happiness, this variety. I don't like to get locked into one thing because I feel like, you know, there's so much to be experienced. If I just said, I mean, don't get me wrong, I could be like, I'm just going to be a cameraman for the rest of my life, and I could probably do that. I wouldn't be happy. Right. It's got to be about a balance between, you know, it's satisfaction, being satisfied. So as long as I'm getting satisfaction out of whatever it is I'm doing, I'm really happy to continue living my life in a way that's sort of has that variety. And by that, I mean, so for example, one thing I love doing is spending time in my garden.
Right.
That brings me a lot of satisfaction. See, if I could make a living out of just being in my garden, I'd do that, you know, for a certain amount of time, and then I'd go in and do something else.
So there's no real 9 to 5 for Craig then?
Nah, I've never, I mean, I've had that at certain times in my life, and I remember...
Kind of freelance, like...
That's my kind of day-to-day is freelance work, but I remember talking about that, talking about stuff about environments and not being happy and stuff. I remember getting sacked from a job. I've been sacked a couple of times, actually, for nothing really that major, but I remember one of the times when I was in my early...
It's a great feeling,
20s.
though, eh?
Well, here's the thing, though. It's a conflicting feeling because at the time I was on the phone to mum and dad, crying, I've been sacked, I don't know what and then I'm going, wait, I don't even like this job, so why am I... But then I basically got given the ultimatum, and somebody said one of the saddest things to me that I've ever heard, and I thought, yeah, I'm making the right decision, because I was essentially, I was given the ultimatum, either jump or you're pushed. You know, either you can leave or you're sacked. You're right. You can leave on your own terms, or we can do. So I said, right, okay. I mean, I don't. And then after a few days of reflection, I'm like, well, I don't like this anyway, so yeah, I'll leave. But I was speaking, but a lot of the people in my team didn't know that I was leaving because that was the situation. Right. And somebody said, well, why would you want to leave this job? I said, because it's, you know, I said, like, well, I used to go running every day until I started here, and I've not ran in 4 months. I said, my legs are hurting more now than I was when I was going running 5-6 miles a day. Yeah. You know, I'm not sleeping well. I've put on about 2.5 stone. I said, this just isn't a good environment for me. And I feel like, you know, I want to do other things. And he said to me, he was like, aye, you're probably right. He said, you know, you can probably come back here in 10 years and I'll still be sitting at this desk. Wow. And I went, wow, like, you're resigned to that. Wow. Yeah. And that guy, to me, for the whole, I think I was only working the place for about 5 months. He wasn't particularly pleasant to me. Yeah. Till that moment. And then I'm like, right, it's because you're genuinely frustrated, and you know you're frustrated. And you're taking it out on anybody. But so yeah, that structure isn't for me.
I've got a bus driver mate who used to drive the trucks when I drove trucks, and he went from driving trucks, and we used to moan at each other about how unhealthy it was driving the trucks because you were always eating junk food,
sitting a long time.
Aye, but what did he go and do? He went and took a fucking bus driver's job, and I swear I seen him 3 months ago, and he must have put on about fucking 8 or 9 stone. He is like double the man he was when we were driving trucks, complaining about our weight and everything like that. And I said, Mikey, this job's killing you, man. You're going to, I mean, it's literally killing you. And he's complaining about his back, his legs and everything. I was like, dude, you've doubled in size. What are you thinking? You know, but need to pay the mortgage, need to do this, need to do that.
No,
you know?
They're confusing it. They didn't need it. They want to. The same shit. If they really needed anything in life, it would be self-preservation. And what you're saying, the gardening makes you happy. Well, the odd shoot makes you happy. Helping him makes you happy. It's just one word, it's happy. It's what makes you happy in yourself. Because at night, you go to sleep, your partner's there, everybody else. Shut your eyes, only you. And if you're not happy, the day's wasted.
And hopefully shooting the shit today. You're happy.
But this is great though, because I love speaking to people, because one thing I do find with being a freelancer a lot of the time is your life can be very reclusive. You can go from being around people for windows of time, and then you're back to, you know, like quite a, you know, an existence of individualism, and that can be bad too. It's you know what, for me it is the word's balance.
Balance. Yeah.
It's, you know, sometimes it's not about the money, sometimes it is. You know, there is that sort of grey area where you're like, okay, well, I don't want to participate in the system, but you actually sometimes do. But I think if you can find something that you enjoy, you know, you get satisfaction out of, you know, you enjoy working with the people you enjoy working with, then you're kind of winning. You know, you're always going to have to fight that. There's always going to be that little bit there that says you should have more, you should be at this point.
It's that wee tipping point.
Yeah.
Balance is fine, but just to tip it in your favour that wee bit. Then, all right, okay, I'll play your system, but I'm happy to play your system. Why? Because I know it's just a game, and as long as I know it's a game, you can't beat me.
Yeah, I think talking about stuff, so the music project for me is massive at the moment, because genuinely after the whole thing where things started to shut down, the 2 years where things shut, I was more or less ready to give up on creativity. I wasn't really, it wasn't doing anything for me anymore. I'd kind of got fed up at acting. I wasn't getting the opportunities. And then I met my pal Stevie that I'm in the group with, and at that point, he was kind of just starting to think about getting to doing some acting and things. So again, talking about not closing doors and stuff, I said, well, you know, I can do some photos for you if you want. I can give you a wee bit of advice how to get into, you know, the book's an agent. Here's a few things that you should do. And, you know, he'd kind of just said to me, he's like, so why are you not performing anymore? And I couldn't really answer that, because I was like, and then I realised I was never an actor. I was never I was a performer. That's what I enjoyed. It was the performance. It was doing stuff that was different to the everyday sort of life that I was kind of living at that point. And we were doing a little bit of writing because he'd wanted to do some comedy stuff. So I introduced him to one of my friends, and we started doing a bit of writing when everything was kind of shut down. And that started to get my creative juices flowing again. And we were coming back from Glasgow one day. We'd had a meeting. And I said to him, I was like, do you know what I'd love to do? I'd love to get involved in a music project that's comedy-based and it's just for fun. And I didn't think kind of he would go with it, because, you know, if you know much about his story, he's had a very interesting story as, you know, a rapper in his own right. But then he was like, aye, that'd be good. And then actually this project has really kind of reignited my enthusiasm for creativity again. So that's kind of what's exciting me. Oh, thank you.
Sell yourself. Get on that. What camera are you on? There you go. You're on the red.
That one there.
Sell yourself.
So
get your Facebook. Get your everything plugged, sir.
So we are Dead Ends. Dead Ends. At Milkman Multi-Trades on YouTube. You can find our videos. We've got a track called I Work for the Council.
And was it you that coined the phrase, like, share and subscribe?
Well, the funny thing about that was pretty much, you know, you start reading into YouTube and how how you get subs and stuff, and how you have to sign off and how you have to say certain things. And it was like, we were just doing it for a laugh one day, and I came out with that just at the end of one of the videos. We thought, we'll just tack it on to everyone. It'll save us saying it at the end of every single one. But, you know, it's one of these weird ones, you know, I'd love to. The dream for me, you know, and I'm sure we've got our individual aspirations for it. But this year, what was weird about it was, in my opinion, to even before you start thinking about going on tours or gigging and things like that, you need to do a year of hard work. You need to establish. You need to get your stuff out there, and you need to get an audience. So this year was just about a year of hard work, shooting videos, getting posts out, building content. My dream for next year, what I'd like to achieve for it, is to go on tours and play festivals.
Right.
Because I said, well, I don't, you know, I'd happily play smaller gigs, but I'm like, somebody has to be playing festivals, so why not us? Why should we not aspire to that?
Yeah.
Because it's an entertaining show.
One kick at the boss, score a goal.
That's it.
Definitely. And it certainly is funny.
Thank you.
There's no danger that there's no funny.
doubt.
Thank you.
And you can see that the enthusiasm is in there, like you're saying, the creative juices. It's there when you're doing that. So yeah, just keep doing it anyway.
And I also think it's different. I don't see anybody else doing it. There might be a reason why nobody else is doing it. I don't know. But to me, it's like, it's an original idea. It's fun to do. It doesn't matter if anybody else finds it funny or not, because it's us that's enjoying it.
Exactly.
And you know, I think if that
it's something again that's subliminal, that you couldn't sell it, you can't bottle it, but when you're having fun, you can't help but like it.
Exactly.
And it's the direct opposite of the Simon Cowell X Factor, where you're watching thinking, that's terrible. And they turn around and say, I thought that was really good. And fuck off. It's real people will realise what you guys are doing. Because that last one, I had to show my wife and we just couldn't stop laughing.
That's good.
It was, honestly, it's hilarious. Just the concept, the words, everything about you is selling that you would maybe need to have to watch a couple of times to actually pick up on.
That's good.
Things.
Yeah.
I think it's one word that's always been big for me is authenticity. You know, I couldn't rap about, living a certain type of life because I'm not.
It's pish.
Yeah.
So I have to do it in a way that's funny to me.
Have you seen the one where the litter?
With the letter,
He's stealing the show, but you can't know see Stevie because Stevie's over his shoulder with a banana skin and stuff. It's just fucking funny.
brilliant.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're right. Quick recap on where that people can find that if they're watching and want to watch your stuff or find your stuff or find you.
Yeah. Sorry. So we're on every platform. So we're doing full spectrum dominance, but our handle is @Milkman Multitrades.
Cool.
Dead ends, because the story is that our day job is we are tradesmen. So we thought it'd be a great idea to mould together our trades company with our rap and hip hop career. That's just another wee play on it, eh? So
spin everything.
Every way you can. So Craig, camera again. To finish,
Yes.
can you give out a wee sentence or a word of positivity to anyone out there that's watching you today that fancies being an actor, a rapper, a writer, a carpet maker?
Like Leroy in Frame with his leggings.
Yeah.
Right, okay. I would just say it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about what you're doing. If you're enjoying it and you're putting out positive energy and it's not hurting or impacting anyone and it's not causing you, distress or destructing your life in other places, just go and have fun. Do the things that you enjoy and see where it takes you, because the alternative is not doing the things you enjoy and being unhappy for a long period in your life.
Suppression leads to depression because you ain't done it.
At least if you're unhappy doing the thing that you think is going to make you happy, at least you've tried it. At least if you're going to do something that you know is going to make you unhappy, then there's only one outcome, isn't there?
Ta-da.
So you're going to end up in the same
Paul
place.
Daniels and Debbie McGee to sell you that one.
No, and I'm going to finish with saying that I had somebody recently tell me the other day that I have never seen you, James, so descriptive, so flamboyant. Animated was the word she used as well. Flamboyant, animated was when you were talking about your podcast. So for me, if you wanted it, go fucking do it.
Yes.
Hey, I'm playing us out with this because we need to go and visit a location.
Nice.
Keep your logs on the now, son. Rap. You could be rapping to this. Come on.
Is that still live? Is
Go,
it?
go,
No, I'm
go.
not doing that then. No. I'm not one of these rappers that can freestyle. That's the funny thing. It takes me a good week to write something.
Yeah.
And then, so I think that's more the writer and actor in me. It's like repetition and learning.
And thank you to Peg and the Rejected for that, as always. From me, adios, amigo. Alan.
Toodle pip for now and hi-ho silver away.
And Craig.
Thanks for having me.
Yay! You're welcome. Thanks for coming.